All right, so thank you for taking the time to do this interview. I know you've been pretty busy this weekend, so I'm very thankful that you took the time to do this interview.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for allowing me to move things around a bit. Appreciate that.
Oh, not a problem. I mean, I try to keep an open schedule when it comes to interviews like this because I want to make sure I can get the right promotion for everybody. And I know how busy it is for active musicians and stuff like that, so it's totally understandable. So, this week I was able to get the promo for the new Spock's Beard album, and I gotta say I'm very highly impressed with what you guys are doing this time around.
Awesome, thanks.
Oh, not a problem. I've only been able to listen to it a couple times so far, but I really like the direction that you guys are going in. What went into the process for the new album?
Wow, it's kind of just, people wrote songs, and we started discussing we needed to get songs together for an album. Everyone presented songs, and we all sort of voted on which ones we liked, and that made it. There's a handful of other songs that either were partially recorded or just kind of got pushed to the side, for the next record or for other functions. So, but that's really it. I mean, we don't put a huge amount of thought into preparing for the album in that regard.
Oh, there's definitely nothing wrong with that either. I mean, it does feel like it's a natural process, and then just picking out the right songs for the album.
Yeah, I mean, there is some thought in terms of do these songs fit together, and because that was sort of the bit. Is a couple of the songs were like, these are cool songs, but it's not really fitting along with the vibe of the other songs. So and time, we ran out of time on a couple of songs.
Would that mean that there might be some stuff in the future that you guys have written for around this time, like for the next album? Would any of those songs hit?
Yeah, I mean, there's like I said, either they'll be on the next record or they'll go on something else. Because there's always little side projects. There's rumors of I won't go into that. I'm doing a solo project. I asked John about possibly using one of the songs for that. At the moment we're sort of focusing on what's in front of us, and we'll worry about those at a later date.
Oh, very cool. So I noticed you guys are also have some dates coming up as well. Is there any chance of American shows coming up in the future?
Well, we have the one LA show, and I've heard rumors of some East Coast shows. So I don't know how firm, if at all, that's happening, but I know it's being talked about. We always want to do it. It's never something that we sit down every time we finish an album and go, okay, is there any way we can figure out a way to tour the U.S.? Can we contemplate, can we get on a tour with another band and, do it as an opening act or co-headline stuff? And so it's always discussed. It's just a matter of schedules of, other people involved, but the financial aspect of it is a pretty big challenge. So, and beyond that, I kind of keep my nose out of it just because I don't get into the finances of things. It gives me a headache.
Oh, I can definitely understand that part. But as far as touring, I mean, if shows like that do happen in the future, I mean, I'd love to be able to catch a show sometime. I unfortunately live in Minnesota, so it would be I'm guessing about like a 12 or 16 hour trip to make it out to the East Coast, but it definitely sounds like it would be worth it.
Well, that's the thing is there are parts of the country that are regionable. The New England area and the surrounding area, falls in that category because you have so many big cities within a reasonable drive. So the idea of touring, we tend to hit those areas in the past and when we have done the state, or we do the West Coast. There's also the feasibility of driving up the coast, but there's all that middle country that's so hard to get to the town, from one town to the other. It's the cost of getting to the populated areas. It makes it impossible.
Yeah, it's really true. I mean, Chicago from here is about 8 hours, and I can just imagine how much of a toll that would be, considering New England is just a couple hours away to get from one major market to the next.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out. I mean, it's been a big thing on our list of discussions of trying to figure out some way of doing this. So it'll happen.
Oh, very cool. So what's your current drum setup that you're using for the new album?
The new album was split up into two recording sessions. The first session was the Yamaha Phoenix kit, which is the same as I used on the previous record. And then I got my drum set, which is the Absolute Maple Hybrid, and that went on the second half of the album. And what an amazing set of drums! Versatile, really warm, rich sounding. It's Yamaha. Kind of what I expected.
Oh, definitely. Yamaha is one of my favorite branded drums to play. I mean, every time I've had the chance to sit down behind a Yamaha kit, it's always reliable and it always has a great tone to it.
Yeah, and that's it. And so with this, the new hybrid kit, it's kind of that on a crack. It's like everything you want and then some. And it's very easy, which it took from the Phoenix design. It's just a really, really pleasant set of drums to play. It feels good in the hands. I've tried a few different types of drum heads on it, and it sets well with all of them. Yeah, very, very pleased with the outcome. And the finishes on all of them are really beautiful as well. I got a classic walnut finish. I tried a smaller bass drum too. I went up in diameter, but down in depth. I've gone to a 22 by 16.
Oh, wow.
So kind of going back to my youth on this one.
Oh, very nice. I mean, that does sound like a great combination.
Yeah, it's a little more of an immediate sound. Reminiscent of like the Stuart Copeland kind of kick drum, or something like that. Old Jeff Porcaro kick drum.
Oh, very much so. Have you messed around with the tom sizes at all, or are you keeping the same sizes that you have been using?
I tend to choose very shallow depths. The depths these are it's 8 by 7, 10 by 7, 12 by 8, and then the standard Yamaha floor toms are 14 by 11, and then 16 by 13. Part of that is I like the way they sound, obviously, but the other part is because I'm short, my arms are short, and you start putting longer toms on me, and I can't play the kit. It just makes it really difficult to get around the drum set. I mean, I can do it, but it's just annoying.
Oh, yeah.
The drum company started doing shallow drums, and I was like, oh, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with that. With shallow toms, I think they have an amazing tone to them, and they're a lot easier to maneuver around the kit no matter what height you are, because the bigger the tom depths are, the harder it is to manage around the bass drum depending on that size, and just making it easier on the kit.
Like I said, as soon as they started doing shallow toms, I just went, thank you.
Oh, that's great. What about your cymbal lineup this time around?
I've been with Pisces cymbals for 30 years. I haven't varied much in the last 5 or 6 years. My primary crash cymbals are the Giant Beat. I have a 20-inch Giant Beat, an 18-inch Dark Energy. Pisces recently introduced a series called the Signature Precision, and I added one of those into my crash cymbal setup. I have a 16-inch fin, and it's great because it gives a lot of balance to the darker Giant Beat and Dark Energies. But now I have a more traditional, brighter crash cymbal in the lineup. Bright cymbals, I tend to stay on the really kind of, not a jazz bright cymbal, but somewhere in that bargain. I do use the traditional medium ride, but I've been going in and out between that and the 602 Modern Essential 20, and it adds a little more brightness to the cymbal, so I go back and forth between those two guys. Hi-hats are the 602 Modern Essentials as well. Got a set of 14, and then I have a set of 13-inch traditionals that I've been back using again. But I invert them. I put the thicker cymbal on top. It gives me a little brighter sound. The other hi-hats that I use whenever possible are the Signature, what are their series? The only 13 that I see make now. Dry Crisp.
Oh, yes. Oh.
And then I just splash cymbals. Whatever splash cymbals sound good. I don't really have a particular preference. I've got the 2002, got a couple of signatures, and I did start using the new effects cymbal. I'm blanking again on the name. The PSTX cymbal.
Oh, yeah.
The ones with the holes in them.
Mm-hmm.
I go in and out between using, they come in the set, have the 14, or I just use them separately, and they've got a really cool little sound to them. It's a neat little variation on the China sound.
Yeah, I've been wanting to mess around with those. I mean, it's definitely a cool concept.
It's a cool concept, and you can do all kinds of combinations with them. So it's great because you're not locked in like one sound. You can do a handful of things with it. Other than that, the only thing left in my setup is China, and I'm just using the 602 Modern Essential on that as well. Keeps me happy.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it sounds like you have an amazing setup as far as like the cymbals and the drums go, and you can definitely hear it on the album as well between both kits. It's just like it's such a amazing tone that you're getting out of everything that you're doing. It's really pleasant on the ears to listen to.
Thanks. Yeah, Rich Bowser, our engineer, is really good at kind of capturing what I do. The last record, Brief Doctrine, we talked a lot about drum sounds and what we prefer and what we like. And fortunately, what he likes to hear, the way he wants to hear drums is very similar to the way I want to hear drums. I like having dynamic depth. I love the old Led Zeppelin recordings where you can hear not just the power of the drum, but the dynamic of the drum. If he's playing soft, you know he's playing soft. They're not doing anything with mixing. It's just him playing quietly. When he lays into the drums, it gets louder. And I love that. I don't like the over-compressed, flattened out, brick wall compression on drums.
Yeah, that's happening way too much now.
Yeah, we just set up and just let things happen. and that's Rich. He knows exactly what to do, and the drums sound good to where we don't really have to do much to them. So this record's a little drier than the last record. We went with a closer room sound, but that was Rich. I didn't even think about it. When we started in the mixing phase, he's been over the mixed the first song, and I made a call and said, making it a little quieter this time, or a little drier. Yeah, it seemed to fit the song, so we just stayed with that theme.
You know, until you mentioned it, I never really put that together until just now, and it definitely makes sense. It does have more of a dry sound to it, but it definitely fits the mood of the album.
Yeah, it's just a little, well, I'm playing busier, so if you get too much ambience, then it's hard to hear a little more on let the drums speak a little better.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm glad to hear about actually having the dynamics play a part in the music, because the brick wall sound is just being so oversaturated and so used. It's nice to be able to hear a drummer actually using dynamics rather than just having everything brick walled.
Yeah, I mean, because there's so many guys out there that are playing really great stuff. You know, that's what I miss whenever I hear a song. It's like, okay, where's the feel? Where's the gush? Where's the air? So yeah, that's the key for what we're doing here. And then it translates to everyone else too. They hear the drums and go, okay, I need to do something that sort of fits into that theme, and it gives them more room to breathe as well. Yeah,
again, definitely proven that the drum sound on an album can totally affect the way that the album's gonna come out for the final product.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
they're dry and short and quick, then everyone else has to follow it too.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. So is there any new music or new drummers that you're listening to lately?
I don't know how super new, but my latest guys that I listen to a lot are Gavin Harrison.
Oh, yes.
I look for Benny Graff videos whenever possible on YouTube. I'm starting to listen to a little bit of his music more. Mostly what I know of him is just his clinic work, but he's really creative. He gets into his solos are sort of songs in themselves. He's one of my guys that I like a lot. Otherwise, there's always guys coming up that I listen to, but the trouble I have is that we're in a phase in drumming where speed is popular.
Oh, yes.
And after a while, it just bores me. I mean, it's great to push the envelope, and I love that people are pushing the envelope of dexterity, and the whole blast beat thing is great in the sense of it has a function and a purpose. But I'll be happier when we pull back from that and go, okay, how do we find a way to adapt it into music? And because now I'm just hearing guys that are in speed exercise, so I tend to listen for a little while, and I go, okay, that's great, I see what you're doing, and then it bores me after a bit.
Well, it definitely makes sense. It's the same way as like when everything is overcompressed and brick-walled on an album. If you don't hear the dynamics of what the drummer is doing, it all starts to sound the same after a while, and you're not hearing any variances at all.
Sure. There's a lot of guys, well, it's like, it's sort of like the gospel chops thing. A lot of drummers in that area that are technically blazing, but the question is, what are they doing musically? So, as much as there's all these guys, there's a handful of guys. There's a guy named Chad Wright, a buddy of mine, that's just a stunning musician. And can he do all those chops things, and can he play things and make your jaw drop? Yes, he can, but he'd rather work. So you're more likely going to see him, playing with the Jacksons, playing a groove, playing the song. And when they let him out and say, okay, this is our drummer Chad Wright, and he plays a cool drum, cool solo, and everyone's jaw drops. There's a handful of guys like that. There's him, there's Gordon Campbell, and Little John Roberts, and then back in the rock and progressive side of things, there's a lot of guys out there that have kind of fallen into the line of being famous for those chops. They're actually much better drummers than that niche allows them. Guys like Ray Luzier, he's actually a really great drummer. He could walk into any gig and play anything. Glenn Sobel, these guys came up learning how to play drum. I want to be a musician. They weren't saying I want to be a rock drummer. It was just that. I want to be a musician. I want to be a working drummer. And they happen to get gigs playing in heavier rock bands, but that's so be it. That's good. They're good bands and they pay well, and it's an income, it's a living. But if they had to come home and someone called them, hey man, can you fill in on this wedding gig? I need you to play the first set that's filled with jazz and bossa novas, and the second set is James Taylor, and the last set's all dance music, and they'd be like, yeah, okay. It sounds great. But those are the guys that I look for. I look for drummers like that who can just play whatever gig is necessary. They listen to any kind of music. They're open-minded, not afraid.
Yeah, I think that's totally the way to go, is to be as versatile as possible. I mean, as great as it is to be able to pull off as technical or speedy drum parts as possible, it's really more impressive to be able to just lay down a groove and then maybe occasionally for like a fill or a solo or something like that be able to show off your chops, but to be able to show restraint as well, like a good mixture of being solid and grooving and throw some technical stuff in there once in a while is much more impressive.
Yeah. I think it's just because, I grew up at an era where the session drummer was, and I grew up in LA. So the guys that I was learning from and that I was going out to play all the time were these session guys. It was Jeff Vaccaro and J.R. Robinson and Carlos Vega. And all these guys were famous for walking into sessions and laying down a great groove. If the song needed an interesting fill, it had it. But really, they were there to respect the song and respect the artist. And that's my root. That's where I'm grounded in. As far as chops go, well, some drummers develop those and other drummers just I also started very young, so I was kind of, whenever you do a gig, everyone expects you to go, oh, the little kid drummer, oh, take a solo. So, I had to develop all the solo chops and everything just to kind of please the audiences and the people that were hiring me, which at the time you sort of get tired of it, but as you get older, you realize, oh, well, okay, now all these tools and this vocabulary. So, yeah, you get into a band like Spock's Beard, and okay, good, now I can use them musically.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the great thing about Spock's Beard is it's not a band that focuses on speed and chops. It's about it's progressive rock, but it's any of the chops that are used are done in a musical way first.
And we get into discussions about that a lot, and especially me. I try to push that envelope. Let's make sure the song is solid first before we start interjecting anything that's complicated.
With that said, I haven't been able to see Spock's Beard in any capacity yet, and of course you've been with the band quite a while now. Does that affect any of the music before your time, learning those drum parts, or are you still playing it the way that they were originally done?
It's a middle ground. I mean, it's not much different than when I was playing alongside Nick. I learned the song. I look for things that are signature bits. Those drum fills that sort of stand out, and whenever possible, I try to stay true to those. Otherwise, it'll get an adaptation of sorts. But we still have to play the song in its structure. We don't change the song structure. So it's a matter of judgment. Going in and going, okay, how important is this drum fill? Is this something that it's key to? Was it like a signature bit? Is it key to the arrangement? Is it playing something syncopated with what's going on, or is it just a drum fill? And I go from there. When Nick was in the band, I would always ask him, keep me in line. If there's anything that you expect to hear, that you would like to hear, important to you, then just let me know, and I'll make sure it's part of the song. But he was always open to that, so I could play more or less.
Oh, very cool. So also getting back to that older material before your time, was there any songs that you guys are playing that was more of a challenge than others, or does it feel natural to you at this point?
Yeah, the Great Nothing was a fun one to learn.
I was going to say, that was a great one.
Very long. There's some stretches in there that I literally had to pull Nick aside and go, okay, you got to show me this one. There's one big final climax where Nick is doing a whole passage where he's got his little China cymbals in there with a tambourine, and it was a very complex piece of work, and it worked beautifully within the song. So instead of trying to figure out, okay, what is this and what is that, I just waited until rehearsal and said, sit down, show me what you're doing. And he laughed. He's like, oh yeah, come on.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that was always one of my favorite Spock's Beard songs, is The Great Nothing, and I can imagine that would be a bit of a challenge in some of those parts, but I'm sure you got it down perfect by now, and it's awesome to see that it's still happening live.
Well, it's not on this tour, but we'll pull it out again at some point. One of the tough parts is fitting the songs into the set. They have so many songs that are so long that it makes it hard to fit. Okay, we've got 3 songs here that are 20 minutes. That means we've got room for 4 more songs. You look at our set list in terms of set song titles, and it looks very short. And then you look at the length of the set, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean, it is kind of that stereotype in progressive music that it's going to be longer songs. But the great thing about the longer songs is it doesn't just feel like you're playing the same riff for 20-some minutes. It's actually suites and almost different songs all combined into one.
Yeah, very often that is what it is. It's movements. You have an opening section, and it's one way, and then the verse section is another way, and then the song changes and goes a whole different Yeah, a couple of the songs we're doing on this tour coming up are that, very much that concept. Playing the water.
Oh, nice.
And, yeah. That song goes all over the place.
Oh, yes, very much so. But it's a great song, though. I mean, I'm sure you guys would be able to pull it off just fine, though.
Oh, yeah. We'll pull it off. But the other thing that makes things a challenge for the material is the singing, because I still have to do all of, the vocal part, and then my vocal part, on the newer record. And Nick and I used to make jokes about it, and I feel it on the last two albums, that we go in and we make the record, and we don't consciously sit down and think, okay, am I going to be able to play and sing this? We just do what's best for the song. And then when it comes time to tour, we sit there scratching our head going, oh, all right, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. But, practice, repetition. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about, like, playing the style of music as Spock's Beard. As challenging as it might appear, being able to sing over top of that as well is just that much cooler to be able to pull off in a live aspect.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I finally, on the last tour, I came out and I sang Carrie. And it was funny to see everyone kind of go, hey, he can sing too. And I'm thinking, well, what is that thing in my face the whole gig? What do you think I'm back there doing? And then you see everyone sort of, their eyes open to the idea that, oh, he's singing as well. Yeah, well, it makes it harder.
It does, but it's also cool to be able to say that you can do what you do in Spock's Beard, along with also contributing vocals as well, and being able to pull that off at the same time. That is so cool.
Yeah, it is. I enjoy the challenge of it. I love to sing, so any chance to sing is fun for me.
Oh, definitely. Has that messed with your drum setup as well, being able to have the mic in the right position to be able to sing and play at the same time?
It did when I started singing a lot. I had to start considering how I placed the mic, what kind of mic I use. The current mic I use is a custom-made microphone, because I have to keep my posture in a very specific way, and I still have to be able to play the drum set. So the drum set tended to come forward. The drums are in front of me. The cymbals tend to be to the sides of me. It's hard to explain without visually showing what it is. I try to find the most natural movement of the arm. But then I have the issue of being short. So, I spent a long time working on where everything goes. So if you see me now, if you see me playing my full kit, it's almost always pretty similar from one gig to the next. They're almost always in the same place. The ride cymbal is always in the same place. If anything varies, it's going to be very specific to whatever band I'm working in. So Spock's is almost always the same.
Oh, of course, with Spock's Beard, and you also do other work as well. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention as far as the other projects that you do outside of Spock's Beard?
Well, I'm a freelance guy as far as that. I've started playing with Asia.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've done one show with them. I have another show coming up at the end of this month. I guess now we're in August. And there's talks of doing a handful more. We shall soon see. That's a lot of fun because Rio's playing keyboards in that as well.
Oh, nice.
And but my main focus is I'm doing a solo album, which we're a few songs into now. We're still writing and putting stuff together, but it's coming along nicely. Looking for an end of the year, top of next year release. Working on some guests. It's nice being the drummer and singer because I get to build the band for each song as it seems fit. And then I've been fortunate to have met a lot of very interesting musicians along the way, either being a session musician or just in the world of touring and what have you. So my list of guest musicians keeps growing as each song comes on. And I don't think, there's part of me that says, I'd like to have somebody that, people are going to know. But it kind of happens naturally just because I've been fortunate to meet a lot of really great musicians along my travels. So, yeah, the list of guests is growing and growing and growing. And so it will be a very fun and interesting project when we finally get to put it out.
Ah, very cool. I'll definitely be looking forward to that whenever that gets released. Is it too early to say what style of music is going to be represented on the album?
Well, it's definitely reflective of who I am and where I've been musically because I try to be as rounded a musician as possible. I'm just as comfortable playing in a funk band as I am in Spock's Beard. So it's going to have a bit of everything in it. So far, the first song that's completed is pretty straight ahead. The next two songs that I'm working on, I don't really know how you classify. It's like, how do you classify Peter Gabriel? It's not really pop, not totally in the progressive world. It's that's about as close as it's come.
I definitely like the sound of that so far. mean, it definitely sounds like a lot of different aspects of your playing and what you listen to is going to be represented. That's a great way to be.
Yeah, and it's whenever possible. It's going to be one of those albums where. It's whenever a drummer says they're doing it, I'm going to do an album. It ends up being a drummer's record. Well, it's hard to not, for me, it's hard to not make a drummer's record. But this is still going to be an album that, could feasibly be on the radio. So it's that middle ground of allowing my playing, to shine, but at the same time, making sure there's great songs and. Sorry, we're stopping for gas here.
Oh, not a problem.
So anyway, so that's the task of that is making sure that the songs are still good songs and that it's not overplayed but it's moving along. We're having fun with it. It's again, doing stuff like that. You have to do it in between the parts where you survive and make a living.
Oh, sure.
I don't necessarily have the advantage of going, okay, I'm going to make a solo album. Somebody give me $100,000.
If only we could all have that.
I'm fortunate enough to have some fans that help me out in an Indiegogo campaign, and other than that, it's my own dime. So it gets worked on as finances fit.
Yeah, and of course the important thing is as long as your heart's into it as well, putting in the music that you play, that is one important aspect. I think it's overlooked a lot.
Yeah, well, this is a long time coming, so, my heart is definitely, I could not be more into this. And, this is something I should have done 20 years ago, to be honest, but, doing it now. So.
Oh, definitely nothing wrong with that. With this solo album, is there any chance of there being any live dates attached to it, or is this strictly a studio?
Absolutely. I've actually already started talking to friends about a live band. Just would they be interested in touring on it if I could put some gigs together, when the album's done. Oh, there absolutely will be a tour for this.
Oh, that'd be very cool to see.
And I don't know if, obviously I'll probably end up, using a lot of the Spock's Beard market just because, my fan base will, whatever that is, will be based out of that. But I'm getting, my attitude is with this is I'll be reliving my 20s again and probably piling into a van and telling my buddies we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. So we'll just pile in a van and go out and play wherever we can play.
Oh, definitely very cool. Yeah, if that ever comes near Minnesota, I would definitely love to check that out.
Yeah, well, we shall soon see. I gotta do one thing at a time. Get the record done first.
Oh, absolutely, of course. And of course, promotion for the new Spock Spirit as well.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I've been doing is I have an album that is scheduled to come out the middle of August. I believe we said the 12th or the 15th. It's right. It's called Children of the Moon. Children of the Moon is a project that I started about 7 years ago with a songwriter friend of mine, Steve Benino. We were working on a project of his when we realized we had a handful of songs that were just not quite fitting the vibe of that record. And he also had more than he needed. There was one song in particular that stood out because all his songs are so good. It's hard to throw any away. So we started thinking about, well, what are we going to do with them? When I asked Pascal Elias to come in and sing this song, I said, here's the song, learn it. She was my wife at the time, so it was easy to just call her in. And as soon as she sang the song, it was like, okay, that's where this song needs to be, which is such a stunning voice. So we discussed the idea of doing another project that was the three of us, and over the last several years, we managed to put a record together, and it's finally coming out.
Check out.
And this is more, singer-songwriter, vocal-friendly. I guess that's what you call it. I don't know what you'd call it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it definitely doesn't sound like something where you need to show off your chops or anything. It just sounds like it's going to be more song-based and straight to the point as singer-songwriter.
So look for that in a couple of weeks, and right behind that will be the new Spock Spirit.
Oh, awesome. Well, definitely a lot of great stuff to look forward from you. It's awesome to see someone like you to be able to be as busy as you are, keeping up in music of all styles, and it's great to show off that versatility. And again, it's just been a complete honor to be able to sit here with you and be able to talk all of these great things.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I just love music. Any kind of music is good for me. So any chance I get to try something new or go a different direction, I jump for it. Pop music, rock music, country, ethnic music. I've been in Latin bands. I don't care. Good musicians, good people, I'll show up.
Yeah, that's definitely what it's about. Well, once again, thank you for taking the time to do this interview. Again, it was a tremendous honor. I absolutely love the new Spock's Beard, and it sounds like there's going to be a lot of great albums that are going to be coming out in the future and just in a couple weeks. Definitely some great stuff to look forward to from you.
Awesome, thanks.
Oh, not a problem.
Cool, man. So